Hello.
Hello again.
Cheers.
How you doing?
Yeah, you've had a good go at the wine.
I know, I like this one. I like this one. A little bit of summer rosé.
Yes.
It's hot out there.
I mean, I don't know why I'm in long sleeves, to be fair, because it's cooled down a bit now.
Yeah.
So I'm probably thinking it's cold when it's not. You know, because it was so humid, wasn't it?
It's been a lot.
Whew.
But we're good. We're here and we're having another amazing conversation on We've Got This Maybe, the podcast.
Yeah, so welcome to our 21st, possibly.
Wow.
Was it 21st?
Yeah, rifling through them.
We're officially adults. Look at that. So this one was one that I thought would be a really good one to have because I definitely experienced this in my life, and I think we've kind of like talked about it vaguely, you know, between us as well. And so one of the things that I really find is this whole thing about it takes a village to raise your kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And obviously we've talked about the fact that sometimes, you know, when you're on your own and you don't have family near you, it can be extremely challenging. But who is near you? Your friends that, you know, you've got from, you know, the school gates and the people that you've met at the after school clubs and things like that. So it's this whole principle around the fact that your family isn't just your friends. Your friends can be part of your family.
Yeah.
It's not just blood
Yeah.
related. Yeah.
And that's that whole thing, isn't it? Is everybody's like, oh, your family are the most important thing. Like blood is thicker than water. And actually, I would really challenge that now. Like challenge the status quo of that. And, you know, all of your like energy needs to be put into these people that you didn't choose and that actually you probably wouldn't even be friends with. You know, it's a really difficult one. And even though you're raised in the same household, probably in the same way, you grow up to be often like very different people.
Oh, completely. And I think that's where it's really valuable looking at, you know, the priorities that you have and what priorities have been put on you of like what the expectation is of how you interact with your family.
Yeah.
What the obligations are.
Yeah, like you've got a sister.
Yeah.
So you've got a sister, I've got two brothers.
Yeah.
Like when you were growing up, like did your parents like force you together, I guess? Like did you feel like they were really like vying for you to be really close, or were you sort of just left to your own?
No, definitely. I think they wanted us to be friends. And I mean, unfortunately, my sister and I, Sarah, and she won't mind me saying this, we were like sworn enemies for our entire childhood.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Like and I'm going to put my hand up because I was the evil one.
You were the worst. Are you older or younger?
Yes, I'm 3 years older, although some say I look younger. Just not anymore, probably. But yeah, me and my sister, bless her. She was just nice. She just wanted to be part of it. She wanted to be part of her big sisters, like whatever. And I was just this evil big sister that was just nope, never, you know, didn't want to be anything to do with her, you know. And looking back, I was a bitch.
Yeah, fine.
You know,
own it.
I'm gonna say it. But at the same time, I just vibed with my friends more and I valued my friends more at that point in my life. And it's difficult because I have a very loving family and a wonderful family, but I do genuinely look at my family and my friends on the same level. It isn't family first. It's kind of, I think they're all part of my family. I really look at my friends as my family.
How do you feel when you see those families that are so close? Like I have a few people that I know of or like friends of my parents or whatever, and it's almost sickening. Do you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
You look at them, they are like picture perfect.
Yeah.
Love each
Go on
other.
holiday together, go to the theatre together.
And we're not just talking about like one child and the parent, like which is a little bit like what my dynamic is. Like me and Rory will go away with my parents, my brother and his partner will go away with my parents to our house in Spain, like, but we won't all go together. Whereas you're looking at these families and they're annually holidaying together, they're loved up like all of the time, and it does make me sick a little bit. in the nicest possible way.
But yeah, I totally appreciate what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. I totally see what you're saying, because it's one of those things that you're very, very lucky if you have got that
Do
relationship.
you think you have to work at that though? And do you think it's forced, or do you think some people are? And actually, this is the question: is that led by the parents or by the children?
Or the exposure,
Mm.
you know, because if you're in an environment where you're, you know, I don't know, I'm thinking way out here, but like, you know, you live, this is my Yorkshire roots coming in, you know, if you live on a farm in the middle of nowhere, you ain't got no choice. Like your brother and sister are your friends, because otherwise you have to travel 25 minutes that way to go find your nearest person. You know, like there's some scenarios where maybe you were forced in, so therefore you got along, so therefore you evolved together.
So interesting. This one just came to mind now. So, I don't think my parents necessarily. Well, I don't think my parents forced the relationship between me and my brother at all. I think it was more just, oh, your brother and sister, that's fine. And
how many years between you?
so 2.
Okay.
2 years between me and my closest brother. I don't think my parents forced it. And actually, even as adults, when there is maybe like disagreements in the family, my parents are very like standoffish in the fact that they're like not getting involved. You work it out. We'll just sit on the sidelines and you just deal with it. Whereas I actually, are they not? Whereas I actually think if your parents are really heavily involved and they're like negotiating on behalf of everybody else and really trying to pull people together, maybe that has something to do with it, because we've maybe got like these, I don't know, feuds or these thoughts or disagreements, but that just like rolled on and it becomes a bit toxic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I totally hear you.
And I look at these really close families and I just know that mother is so heavily involved in, you talk to this one, you sort it out, get on the phone to them, do this, do that. I'm really just bringing it all back together.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think, yeah, my parents are, bless them. I mean, they've had to put up with a lot over the years. But my mum, bless her, she's like the UN. She tries to sort everybody out. She tries to talk everybody round. She tries to, you know, talk about every. Sometimes me and my sister will fall out and be like, "Why have we fallen out?" Well, Mum said this. I didn't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Mum, why did you say that?" Oh, maybe I didn't mean that. And I'm like, "Oh God, Mum, you just made like, you know." And there's been so many times where Sarah and I have just gone, right, what did Mum say to you?
Yes, yeah. What did she say to cause this argument? But that's the thing. So blessing and a curse, then it can go.
Yeah,
it can go
either
either way. And you know that whole thing of, oh, you've got to be doing all of this for your family members, and you touched on it right at the start. Is actually, you know, sometimes you feel innately closer to people that you've chosen.
Your chosen family, I think, are the most, and I'm not going to say the most important, but one of the most important aspects of your life, because there's psychological safety in your chosen family, whereas sometimes in your biological family or your, you know, family, there might not be.
A lot of taking for granted, perhaps.
Maybe, or, you know, even things like disappointment, things that might come from, you know, parents wanting you to be a certain way or do a certain thing, and they believe a certain thing and you don't, or, you know, certain things that may be slightly off because of the generation gap. You know, we've all been through a lot in the last, 50 years. And there's been so much change in society. There's been so much technological advancement, you know, things like that, where they don't understand things that you might kind of go, but how can you not understand it? You know, so there's lots of stuff that I think might jar. Whereas with your chosen family, you know, your friends, those who you can rely on, you know, when we were talking about the kind of, you know, the ride or die friends who would be there like that, you know, with no shade, no, you know, anything. That's the people who really can give you that support network sometimes people wouldn't get.
And interestingly, like over the years, I've had like friends of like varying generations as well. Like So I have a friend now and love her dearly, and it was one of the biggest supports for me of this podcast when we first started it. Like, so lovely. But she's 70, maybe 75 now.
Yeah.
Oh, I might be doing her a disservice then. She's probably 70 at least. You know, and she was like bestie.
Oh, I honestly, my friendship group ranges from I've got friends in their late 20s all the way up to I've just had a friend celebrate their 68th.
It's amazing. But what you get from that person, and she was like light and soul of anything, like she's amazing. But then what I had with her, or have with her, whenever we have like distance ourselves more recently, because she's now off traveling the world, gallivanting. I'd love to be doing that.
Girl.
Yeah, amazing, right? But like what I like sought from her in comparison to what I sought from other people was different, and I could have different conversations with her because she had children who were older than me.
But people have all had, and everybody's got their own experiences, so everybody can bring something to the table. So there's certain friends that you will always want to kind of go to for certain things. I mean, I've definitely got those friends that if I want a massive blowout, I know where to go.
Yeah.
I know who to call, Andrew.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I know who my people are if I'm emotionally anxious and I need someone to kind of talk through something with. I've got my friend Sam, who lives in Dorking, who's like 35 minutes away. If I just need, she's got loads of dogs and I just love it, and I go down and I cuddle all the dogs and she just makes me feel better because we talk through things at that kind of no shit level, and it's like it's such a vibe because it nourishes me. So there's different, so many people can bring so much to your life in so many different ways, and they can be part of your life. Like some of your friends, I don't know if you've got any friends who know your parents. If you're having a family gathering and they turn up, there's no difference.
So funny. So I feel that less so with people coming into my family. I probably feel more involved like that with other people's families. But we've certainly had that over the years. But no, I definitely feel like I place myself in other people's families though. And I don't know, I'm challenging myself now, is I don't know if I'm trying to maybe plug some gaps.
It could be. It could be that. It could be the fact that, maybe there's an underserved part, and that's fair enough, because again, this is one of the things I, when I, one of the many times I was in therapy, there's a need that your parents don't necessarily know about. So your parents could do everything right. Your parents could be the best parents in the world. They could be there for you, give you everything, emotional, physical, financial, whatever. They could give you everything, but there still could be an unmet need. And this is one thing that I went through with my therapist, because it was my first breakdown, I think, one of two. And my first breakdown, and I felt guilty. I felt so guilty because I had so much privilege. And I think we've touched on this before in a previous podcast. I felt so guilty because I had such loving parents who were so desperate to help me. I'm getting a bit emotional now. They would give me everything. They'd sacrifice for me to feel better, but I couldn't get better. I couldn't. The depression just was so deep, and there was nothing they would do that they wouldn't do. But I couldn't get out of it, and I felt so guilty. So again, it's like there was things that therapist could give me that my parents couldn't.
But your parents, it sounds like they saw it, but they couldn't help you.
I don't even think they saw it.
Because that's, I think and it's not something I've ever really thought about before, but what you said is, they don't just give you what you need. And sometimes actually now thinking about it makes me feel a bit guilty about how I am with like my kids is, do you just overlook stuff? Like, do you know everything that they want? We're giving them what we think they want, not what they need. And I think this often comes down to, we'll buy them this new shiny toy. Like example, Rory bought the kids this Mario online Nintendo Mario game, right? And you know, they loved it. They really did. But I think Rory liked it for him.
Being the father, gifting the child that game.
Because all he kept saying to me was, and I know when he spoke about this to a couple of other people as well, is he remembers the importance for him of that first.
So he's transferring his value onto what he thinks the kids would want.
And I don't know whether they'll want it or not. And he really seems to think that's going to be the biggest thing for them. This is the start of their game journey. Like, they'll remember this forever. Will they?
So this is such an important point. I think it's really natural for parents to put their childhood experiences and values onto their children. It's not a bad thing. It's a natural thing. I think we're all it's a bit like when I go, oh my God, Erin, you've got to come to this place that I've been to. You're going to love it. And if you come and go, it's not all that. It's no damage on me, but you might feel guilty and I might feel upset that you don't like it. You know, there's all this thing where you're putting your value on someone else. And it's a very difficult pill to swallow when you don't get the reaction that you want.
And then it's a bit resentful. Like, so I'm thinking now, like, maybe my parents weren't so forceful with, I guess, like, cultivating or managing the relationships between me and my siblings, for example, because maybe they had undue pressure in other areas from their families, and they've now thought, oh, we're not going to do that. We want them to navigate it themselves. And now for me, I'm almost putting other pressure on my kids because maybe there was gaps missing in there. And it's
about, I think, navigating it and being aware, like this whole thing about being mindful about what's yours and what's not yours, you know? And parenting's such a hard navigation. Like, who knows what's right and wrong? I mean, some people they might be very educated and good for them. But, you know, we're all trying, and we're all trying to navigate it. And sometimes I will pick myself up and go, no, that's your thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's your thing. That's not Sophia's thing. Like, it's really interesting. So I've got two, like, short stories. One, I think I've touched on it before, went to Disneyland, Paris with Sophia last year. Epic. Like, one of my big milestone moments is taking my daughter to Disneyland. I couldn't be more excited. And there's this one part of it. My biggest favorite Disney film is Aladdin. And there's like this passageway and it tells the story of Aladdin. It's magical. There's all these lights and everything. And if you've been, you'll know. And Sophia was petrified. She didn't want to go in. So I lost it because it was my thing. And I was so angry at her. And then I felt really guilty because I recognized it. Took me about an hour. Took me an hour of anger to realize I'd done the wrong thing. And I apologized to her. And I said, I'm really sorry, that was mummy's thing, not yours, and you didn't deserve it.
But you're trying to give her the magic that you had.
The magic I felt rather than the magic she, you know, and she was just too young. The first time I went to that bloody Aladdin thing, I was like 22.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jenny. So it's like, of course she's not, she's 4.
Yes.
Like, of course it's dark and there's a big, like, lion, like.
Expectation thing again. It's actually, you've picked up on it. You were 22. You could see it in a totally different light to a 4-year-old.
And that's it. And it's a different lifestyle. The way I was growing up, younger, experiencing Disney is very different to the way Sophia does.
So one of the biggest things we've got now, right, is we got a new car. And it's got a screen in the back so the kids can watch stuff on the screen. Now they've almost forgotten life without a screen. And they get in and they're like, if we ever drive in the other car and they're like, oh, we want the screen. And then, like, Rory's like, how ungrateful are you? Like, children in parts of the world don't have screens at all and you've got a screen in your car. And I'm like, but
they don't know.
We've set them up for this.
Yeah.
At 3 and 4 years old, they have no concept that they have things other children don't have.
The bubble.
And that's fine. And we don't hide them from that. But it's quite difficult to expose children of that age to the norms and actually what is being very lucky to have. And then we get really frustrated at them for being ungrateful.
Yeah, or spoiled, or like, why can't we go? to wherever or whatever,
and I say to Rory, I was like, we can't be annoyed at them. They're a product of the environment that they've grown up in.
Yeah. And that's it. It's the values you put on something because you've learned.
And we're trying to give them the
world. You've become more successful.
And we want them to have all these amazing things. And, I'm sure Rory loves nothing more than Freddie telling his buddies that he's got a TV in his car, because actually Rory probably would have loved to have done that.
When he was a kid, absolutely. And that's where the value difference is so, it's such a significant thing. So, for example, Sophia won an award the other day, right? So we said to her, first trophy, right, you can have a treat. What would you like? We'll get you something. We'll take you somewhere, whatever you want. We literally gave her a blank sheet of paper just to see where it'd go. And do you know what she came up with? I was thinking brand new toy, trip to, I don't know, Disney. Or, I thought she got something like, can I go to the playground with some of my friends?
Ooh.
And Lawrence said to her, but we do that every day. And she goes, but that's what I want to do. So we were pushing back on something she genuinely valued at that special level, because we didn't.
You don't think it's important enough. Yeah.
And I said to Lawrence, I said, look, if that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. Because again, like at different ages and different stages, you put value on different things, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's where, again, like you're saying about the bubble thing, it's the kind of the full spectrum, isn't it? It's the fact that we don't fully understand what's going through their heads and what they put value on. So when we're saying to them, did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy that? And it's
half the time they're like, no, because they like something else. Like so often we do something which we think is amazing. I say to the boys, what was your favourite bit about that day? And they will say something totally irrelevant.
The car ride or usually, the game I was playing.
Usually the things that cost
nothing,
money or are minimal in cost. And I think that goes, you can sort of attribute that sort of thought process to family stuff in terms of the value that you put on something. And, so I've got a few members of my family or whatever, my kids probably would struggle to remember a few of those people's names, or they'd be more shy around them compared to how they are with some of my friends, because the family things become like the elephant in the room is, we have to go and see these people because it's this special occasion, rather than the people that we choose to spend our time with out of our own free will, not forced by global holiday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Completely. And I mean, I remember when I was little, so I'm part of an extremely big family. We are in a northeast family. I'm the only south. Well, our family are the only southern ones. We're, everybody else is up north. And I have grown up in this incredibly strong, knit, close, big family. But I remember when I was very young, going to the sort of the great aunties or the great uncles, those people who aren't quite part of the tight knit one. It's sort of like the second cousins or the second aunties or whoever. And I remember being sat there petrified.
Yeah.
And I hated it. I'd much rather, like you say, I'd feel much safer and closer to my parents' friends. And, they're the ones I'd go running to. Whereas family members who were part of my family, I remember fighting back tears because I didn't want to be there. And my mum, you will sit there, you will eat your lunch, proper have that or lunch, and again, maybe it's a generational thing that we don't do that to our kids anymore. I don't know, it's just, I think the value you put on the expectation, because they're family, you have to conform.
Do you know what? I think you really touched on it. I do think it's generational, because I think now I probably have more choice and control over what family members I see than maybe what my parents or that would have been, because, there was that pressure of, we stay as a family, this is our family.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I can go months without speaking to my siblings, seriously.
Yeah.
And in the nicest possible way, it doesn't bother me.
But I think that's okay, because again, it's this whole thing of, you know, like we're talking about expectation of what you should do in a family. Like, why are you thinking, oh, I need to message my brother because I haven't spoken to him in ages and we are brothers and sister and you know, we should be getting on. Like, I don't think that's fair. And like to say maybe it's a generational change, but to me, like, you know, message who you bloody want to message, keep in touch with who you want to keep in touch with. Like, and again, coming way back to the beginning of why we started this podcast was that it was about really bringing to life, like the fact that do what brings you joy and be around the people who make you feel amazing. Like, don't be around the people who make you fight back tears because you have to stay there for lunch and you're kind of like, ugh.
The pressure, and
You know?
no one needs that.
No, but we're here for a short time.
Yeah, no one needs that anxiety of like having to be in a situation. And look, don't get me wrong, the world is like that sometimes. There's many days I don't want to go to work, so I just get up and go. Like, do you know what I mean? And we'll have that. And I do think that is character building in children, right? And I do think those really painful days when you had to go and sit at a family member's house that smelled and they served you weird food.
Yeah, God, it's like you were there with me, Erin.
Right, but it's a life lesson. And maybe our children need to be exposed a little bit to that, to learn that respect and to, you know, learn there is certain situations you need to conform and you need to do things you don't necessarily like and it's respectful and all things like that. But, you know, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that you aren't being forced into situations you wouldn't necessarily choose because somebody tells you you're related.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's just about, you know, trusting your gut again, going back to, you know, like, really, are you really like needing to contact that person? Like you're saying about, you know, your brother, it's not a massive deal if you don't. It's, you know, you're not, your relationship hasn't broken down. It's just the fact that you don't message each other.
Yeah,
you're not, you know.
And I think we both respect that. Yeah. Like we don't have a huge amount to talk about. We don't socialise in the same social circles. We live in very different places. We've got quite different lives. And the things that we do talk about are quite general things that most people would be doing. And that's fine.
I totally think that. And, you know, like, my sister lives down the road. I'm literally 5 minutes away from my sister.
And you still don't.
And there's sometimes where Sarah and I will just not speak. You know, we're more likely to bump into each other in Asda.
Oh, I love that. Stop.
We're more likely to go, all right. You know, and again, it just came back to the fact that there's days, there's weeks where we will spend the whole day together. We'll go out. We'll, you know, if she's got a little boy and we'll do things with him, and Sophia will, you know, we'll go shopping together. We'll go for lunch together. We'll go to the garden centre together because who doesn't love a garden centre?
How does that make you feel though about your kids? Like you've just said that now and I think about Freddie and Max. I can't imagine them in 30 years' time walking past each other. Like,
does that break your heart a bit thinking about the fact that they're not going to be?
I would like to think that they would be like that, but, you know, I also can see it the other way. But I just find it so strange that you can go. I see how they are now, how close they are, and I'm sure me and my sister, I'm sure you and your sister are the same. Like when you're that young, like you're really close,
you're really little,
and then you just become nothing. Like nothing's probably really strong, but you know. Look,
everybody evolves in the way that everybody evolves. And it's one of these things that, you know, be who you are. And if, you know, you go in the same direction and then you veer off and then you come back again, great. If you don't, it's okay too. You know, there's this whole thing about, and again, I think we are coming back to the same point that it maybe is generational expectation. And maybe things are evolving and that people are realizing that a support network, a village, doesn't just constitute of your mum, your brother, your dad, your sister, whatever. You know, it is more than that. Like there are friends of mine that I've known less than 10 years that I would go to probably before my family.
Oh, yeah. And your family know you on a different level to your friends, but not in a... I think sometimes my friends know me on a better level, the real level.
Psychological safety thing.
And one of the funny things I just thought of actually is when you say you've got siblings that have children each, and actually the parents' dynamics and how that changes or differs between grandchildren on this side and grandchildren on that side, whether it's the daughter or the son that's had the kids, then how that navigation happens with that rest of that family. And
yeah, it is really tricky. And I think we all as a community want to always have the best for our children, don't we? We're all like, you know, I mean, obviously there are parts of society where that may not happen, but ultimately, as a parent, you're always wanting the best for your kids. And does that mean constantly being around family? You know, so they know who their grandparents are, they know who the aunties and uncles are, they know who their cousins are, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, does that give them some grounding? Or they know their history, their roots?
Or does the fact that my daughter, who knows who her gunkles are, knows who her, you know, like she knows, she absolutely adores, like she's got a couple of aunties who are not related by blood, and she adores them. Like they're her favorite people, like Auntie Frankie. Shout out to Frankie. My God, my daughter loves her. Frankie's one of my friends that literally I've only known probably 10 years. And she is one of my daughter's favorite people. And again, she loves her like a family member, you know, and that's amazing. You know, she loves her Uncle Andy. Like she always goes on about Uncle Andy. They're both gingers, so they both love each other. You know, and again, it's like there are these people in her life that I think she values on the same level as her biological family. And I love that, you know, because there are people she values. There's people she misses. She said it about you before. She said it about some of the mums where she goes, I miss her and I haven't seen her. Like, I mean, it might be one of the days when we're not doing a podcast, you know. At the time, she's like, oh, you're doing a podcast, Emma. But again, like, you know, the fact that she values people and there's no difference. It's the value she holds in people. And I'm really incredibly like proud of that because I think that's a really strong trait to have because again, is it generational? Who knows? Maybe we've got to have a therapist to break it down. But I think it's really important for us all to remember that it's the people that make you feel safe, joyful, you know, the people who you know can be there at the dark moments where it gets really ugly.
100%.
Those places where you're like, shit.
Yeah, and now I think some of the friends I have are the ones that are creating the memories my children will remember forever.
Amazing.
Like those core memories, like 100%. I know some things that we do led on by other people, other things my kids will remember because it wouldn't naturally be something that I would do or, you know.
Your family would have
died.
Yeah. And that's fine. I think this is one of the things, this is the reason why I kind of wanted to talk about this because I think there's a lot of people who feel kind of guilty sometimes that they're not spending enough time with their family. And, you know, dare I say it, Christmas. The obligation. Why can't we all be a Friends episode? The Christmas and Thanksgiving episodes were great where they all got together. Whereas in our lives, you know, really the obligation is with family.
Yeah, and it really is. And sometimes actually, if you've got family that say they can't do it one year, it does relieve some of that pressure. Do you know what I mean? It's so difficult, and I'm sure we'll cross the Christmas road in due course.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be
when we're talking about it again.
Yeah.
Interesting conversation that one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It does fill me with a little bit of sadness, I guess, a little bit, because, you know, just circling back to how we, like, one of those comments I made at the start is you see those families that are so close.
But they will have their secrets, Erin. This is it. Like, as much as you see this side, they will always, I mean, they'll either suppress them, shove them under the rug, or they will have their own moments. Like the whole Instagram thing. You know, nothing is Instagram perfect. There's always going to be an uphill, a downhill, a dark day, a bright day. Like, you know, I think that's something we've all got to realize, that even the perfect family has, I mean, the Obamas still argue, I'm sure. You know, aren't they just the perfect family? Really?
Oh, then I think that is one to spend on then.
shout out to Michelle, my goddess, my idol. I love her. As the book there flips
Absolute family vibes. Yeah, interesting. And I think, you know, our friendship, I guess, is testament to that, because in such a short space of time,
yeah.
you know, you just become like part of someone's.
Oh yeah, I'm
life.
literally addicted to you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I love that.
so Lawrence was like, I haven't messaged Erin. I need to message Erin. Where's my phone?
But it's the kids and everything that comes
know,
with
I
that,
love
and the
that.
experiences and the safety and the just everything.
Yeah.
You know, and people just like waft in, and then you wonder where they came from, and you're never going to get rid of them, right?
Do you know what the big thing is for me? Is that in my house, if you were to walk in the door, I'd be fine. If my parents were walking in the door, I'd be like, shit, is there washing in the sink?
That's how you know, though, isn't it?
That's what I know.
Is you come in and you literally just you just know that person
this
doesn't
is
really
me.
care.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
She doesn't judge. She's like here for it in any way it comes. Whereas, yeah, if my mum and dad come around, I might have a vacuum the floor. You know,
That's
the
my
laundry put away.
That's my favourite, though, actually, is when you get to that level with somebody.
Yeah. And that's when you know the safety's there, the trust's there. And that's what makes amazing relationships.
Yeah. Well,
I love you, babe.
cheers to that.